Welcome to this edition of Kitchen Table Talk, where we do a serious conversation around the kitchen table. Now, I'm going to say something, and I don't care how many people get mad at me. I'm going to say something, and frankly, I don't care. The worst thing that happened to Black America was desegregation. Let me explain. Let me say this one more time. The worst thing that happened to Black America was desegregation. I'm going to explain. I didn't say voting. I said desegregation was the worst thing. The voting act was good. All that other stuff was good. But the worst thing that happened to Black America was desegregation. I'm going to explain. When I was in high school, yes, I did go to high school. When I was in college, yes, I did go to college. Mainly when I went to college, I didn't get the full extent of Black history. I got the Black history of what people said in the high school textbooks, but I didn't get the full Black history experience until I went to college. And yes, I did go to college. I didn't graduate, but I still went to college. But anyway, I got the best Black experience when I went to college. When I found out in a college course, mind you, in a college course, that before segregation ended, Black people were thriving. Black people had their own businesses. Black people had their own the movie theaters. Black people had their own banks. Black people sustained their own neighborhood, i.e., counties, i.e., states, i.e., cities. That's why I say the worst thing that happened to Black America is because we were fighting to integrate and be accepted by the white man. Ooh, did I say that? I sure did. We were fighting for integration. But they said, well, what about the schooling? The schooling, we fighted for the integration of school because the schools were separate but equal, but they were not equal. If you were in a state that was segregated, the schools were not equal. If you were in a city that had a thriving Black community, their schools were thriving. We would see pictures of schools that had no books, that had no this, that had no that, because that's what America wanted you to see as the fact as this is what happens because we did not integrate. We had less than, but actually we didn't. If you go to like Allingsworth, had a whole community in California. Colonel Allingworth had this whole community in California where he thrived. He had a school, he had a church, he had businesses. People owned property. In the Black Wall Street, people had their own. Black people had their own cars, their own houses, their own theaters, their own banks. Black people owned banks back then. So that's why I say desegregation and integration into America was the worst thing that could have happened to Black people. I'm talking about desegregation as far as we integrated into white society and having white society saying that we're going to determine if you're better, that we're going to determine if you're worthy. No, in Black society back then, when we were segregated, was a lot better than Black society right now, because Black society, when we were segregated, they looked after the Black businesses. They went to Black banks. They went to Black theaters. They patronized Black businesses. We don't do that now because we have to assimilate to be accepted. But it took me. I'm gonna say this. It took me 40 years to understand that. I'm not saying, but I'm not saying that we shouldn't have gotten the voting privilege. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, because we can be segregated and still have voting rights. They can coexist. Basically. They can coexist. So I'm just saying that the worst thing that happened to Black America was desegregation. So I just want to come on and say that. Now this is Des with the Kitchen Table Talk, because we're having serious conversations. We're having serious conversations around the kitchen table. This is Des.
Yeah, they put up with every day for generations. There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will